What's up guys, it's Tommy here and I'm very excited to report to you guys that Liverpool started talks to sign Hugo Ekitike, the brilliant Frankfurt striker, who is a much better value for money signing than Alexander Isak, because he would literally cost half of what Alexander Isak costs, and he has 19 goals and 8 assists for Frankfurt, and Frankfurt are in the Champions League places in the Bundesliga. They are having a fantastic season, and Ekitike formed a deadly partnership with Omar Marmoush in the first half of the season. Then Marmoush went to Man City, but since then Ekitike has been the main man, scoring goals, getting assists for Frankfurt and firing them to the Champions League, which is a huge success for Frankfurt because they are not even regularly qualifying for Europe, except in the last few years. And Liverpool will be rebuilding the club's attack ahead of next season, and Richard Hughes held talks recently with Frankfurt and Ekitike's representatives about the exciting superstar. Of course, Arne Slot's Liverpool are on course to win the Premier League title, but I think many Liverpool fans would agree with me in saying that there is room for improvement. Liverpool can definitely improve their attacking output, especially from the strikers department, where Diogo Jota, Darwin Núñez didn't pull up many trees. Luis Diaz played as a striker in the early part of the season. He had success there. Luis Diaz scored a hat-trick against Leverkusen, but Diogo Jota is injury prone. Darwin Núñez only scored 7 goals, and he's not fancied by Arne Slot. And yes, Arne Slot has struggled finding the right attacking solutions at Liverpool, and that's a testament on how brilliant Liverpool have been, that even without a nailed-on regular goal-scoring striker, Liverpool are 12 points clear in the Premier League. Mainly thanks to Mo Salah's incredible season. Mo Salah has 44 goal contributions, and even though he had a quiet month recently, in the last month he hasn't been scoring that many goals. Overall, Salah is still having an absolutely outstanding season. And of course, it's not guaranteed that Darwin Núñez, Jota and Luis Diaz will all be up for sale and they will all leave. But I think Darwin Núñez is leaving, that's almost 100%. And then Liverpool will weigh up their options. If we get an amazing offer for Luis Diaz or Diogo Jota, then I don't think Liverpool will work too hard in keeping them, because Liverpool are looking at future-proofing their attack as well. And we could revamp our attack this summer with 2 or 3 attacking signings, just like we did revamp our midfield in one summer transfer window. We signed Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch and Wataru, and that midfield is the base of Liverpool's title-winning season this season. So Andy Hughes is already eyeing up potential striker replacements, and Liverpool hold talks with the representatives of Hugo Ekitike. He is definitely on Liverpool's radar, he is on Liverpool's shortlist, and if Alexander Isak is too expensive or Newcastle don't even want to sell, then Hugo Ekitike I think is second on the list. And Liverpool have been scouting and watching the French attacker for a long time, having first caught the eye of club scouts back when he broke onto the scene at Reims. And Richard Hughes is already eyeing up potential replacements for Darwin Núñez, and this season Ekitike has been one of the most exciting young forwards in European football at Eintracht Frankfurt, and he's only 22 years old. And the Anfield Watch news outlet is revealing that Liverpool are already working on a deal to bring Ekitike to Liverpool, and we held talks with the 22-year-old's representatives in London last week. These were of course preliminary talks expressing Liverpool's vision and plans for Ekitike, and Liverpool were not the only club to register their interest in Ekitike. Representatives from Man United and Arsenal also held talks with Ekitike's entourage, their representatives, so it is understood that big clubs will be in the race to sign Hugo Ekitike. It's well documented that Man United, Arsenal want to sign a striker, maybe even Chelsea as well. Eintracht Frankfurt are willing to sell Ekitike for around 80 million euros, which is 68 million pounds. I think that's a little bit too high for Ekitike, who is still more potential and not necessarily the finished article. I think if Liverpool could negotiate that down to like 50 million guaranteed with another 10-15 million in bonuses, then I think we could do a deal for around 60-65 million total package. Ekitike is now by no means the only candidate shortlisted by Liverpool. We have been linked with Victor Osimhen, Viktor Gyökeres, not just Alexander Isak and Ekitike, Benjamin Šeško, Liam Delap as well. I think Ekitike or Šeško looks like the most promising, and actually Ekitike has much better numbers than Benjamin Šeško. I would actually choose Ekitike if I had the choice. Of course, Alexander Isak would be the perfect signing, but I'm not sure if Liverpool have the necessary money to fund a £120 million striker transfer. Plus, we need a centre back, we need a left back, we need a centre midfielder as well. But Ekitike is very highly thought of by Liverpool's scouts and the data analysis team, and he is seen as one of the leading candidates for Liverpool. So I would be actually particularly happy if Ekitike was signed by Liverpool, but Liverpool won't want to enter a bidding war for any strikers, and that will be almost impossible because so many big clubs want a big transfer of a striker signing, so it will be impossible to not enter a bidding war because Ekitike, there are clubs lining up for him. Same for Alexander Isak, even more clubs lining up for him. Benjamin Šeško also, a lot of clubs are lining up for him. Viktor Gyökeres. And these are just four of the potentially many striker targets for Liverpool. I don't think Mateus Cunha or João Pedro are good enough for Liverpool, but Mateus Cunha, I can see the vision because in a much better team he could actually score 20-25 goals in theory. Ekitike's deal is edging forward because Frankfurt are already lining up a replacement. Frankfurt are already preparing for life after Hugo Ekitike. That's what this journalist is reporting. And Ekitike is perfectly tailored to play under Arne Slot's style. Frankfurt will be allowing Ekitike to leave because they are not the biggest club even in the Bundesliga, and they don't have the finances to keep all their best players. And they are prepared to make a deal with Liverpool. According to Florian Plettenberg, a German journalist, Frankfurt are already lining up a replacement. They are in talks to find an agreement to sign Jonathan Burkardt, who is having a fabulous season with Mainz. Mainz are in the Champions League places in the Bundesliga, and Frankfurt are continuing their pursuit of Jonathan Burkardt. He remains a top transfer target for Frankfurt. Numerous talks have taken place and the clubs are already in contact, and Frankfurt are currently willing to pay 20 million euros plus bonuses, which is an absolute bargain for Burkardt because he could explode at a bigger club. I mean, he's already scoring like 15 goals for Mainz or something around that mark. I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head, but Burkardt has not yet made a final decision on whether he will leave in the summer or stay, and Mainz of course want to keep him. Burkardt is also a Germany under-21 international. He seems like an ideal fit for Frankfurt, and he is pretty much the perfect replacement for Ekitike. So this would be a mega transfer for the German side. It's a deal that could benefit everyone involved, because if Frankfurt managed to wrap up a move for Burkardt early, which is what they are trying to do, then Liverpool can do the same for Ekitike, because that's how Liverpool could get ahead of all these other big clubs interested in Ekitike. While other clubs are weighing up a move on which striker to target this summer, Liverpool could sweep in and get an early agreement with Frankfurt and Ekitike. That's how you jump ahead of the queue. It's a transfer that definitely edges this Ekitike transfer to move to closer to Liverpool. Frankfurt are clearly making plans to replace Ekitike, and they are planning their future accordingly. The fact that they are trying to get this deal done nice and early is a very positive sign. And of course, Richard Hughes will have a lot of business to do in the summer. Signing a striker is one of the top priorities alongside signing a left back. So if Liverpool can get this deal over the line early, that would be a huge bonus, and Frankfurt are clearly paving the way for that. And that's where Liverpool find themselves in a hard position, because if we don't know the future of Van Dijk and Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, then how can Liverpool plan their transfer moves early? Recently, Kevin De Bruyne has announced that he is leaving Manchester City at the end of the season, and people are expecting Salah and Van Dijk to announce either that they are leaving or staying at Liverpool. But I think we need that announcement in this April. We can't wait until May to find out whether these big players are staying or going. Because imagine a scenario when you are entering the transfer window and you don't know whether you need to replace Van Dijk, Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. That is the nightmare scenario for Richard Hughes. Because if you can't get your transfers done early, some of the top targets will have already moved by the time, Van Dijk and Salah announce their futures at the end of the season, which will be in the middle of May, like second half of May. If that's when you find out Salah and Van Dijk are staying or leaving, that's a horrendous scenario. Another aspect to consider is Liverpool fans would like to know, I think, because we could give proper send-offs to Salah and Van Dijk. They are such huge legends of the football club. By the time the last game at Anfield rolls around, Liverpool would like to know already whether we should bid farewell to Van Dijk and Salah and just give them a big farewell party at Anfield, or whether we can celebrate the Premier League title together knowing that Salah and Van Dijk are staying. And even with Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't hate Trent Alexander-Arnold for what he's doing. I just dislike him a little bit more, because he's leaving on a free transfer and because he's leaving fans out in the cold, not saying anything all season long, which I don't find that particularly good. But also, Liverpool fans would like to send Trent Alexander-Arnold off properly. So we should get an announcement about Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think after Liverpool wrap the league title up, so either matchday 33 or matchday 34, Leicester away, Tottenham at home, maybe Chelsea away. That's the 3 games I'm looking at where Liverpool are most likely to wrap up their transfer deals, their Premier League title credentials. So if Liverpool wrap the title up early, that's one. After that, I think we will get announcements from Trent Alexander-Arnold 100%. He will probably announce that he's leaving for Real Madrid. And with Salah and Van Dijk, that could speed up the talks of your new contract. So yeah, let me know what they think about this in the comments below. I thought it was an interesting thing to consider. And I also love that Arne Slot responded to Michael Owen's absolutely crazy comments after the Liverpool-Everton derby, where Michael Owen tried to belittle Liverpool's special season because he cited that Liverpool went out of the League Cup and the Champions League in the space of a week and a half, and he said that it's a less special season because of that. He was asking that Van Dijk. So Virgil was a bit frustrated, let me understand it, Arne Slot said, because it came across that it's not enough to only win the Premier League. Michael Owen did play for us, didn't he? Arne Slot asked. So he's aware of the fact that in 35 years Liverpool have only won the Premier League once so far. There is your answer. If you can win the league with this club, Liverpool, then nothing else matters, I would say. That's the most special season. You have to put it into context. 35 years. It's half of a lifetime. A whole generation of Liverpool fans grew up without seeing Liverpool lift the Premier League title more than once. And they haven't actually seen it in person because it was behind closed doors when Liverpool actually lifted the title. If you do it 10 times in a row, then I could understand that people say, oh, but you only win the Premier League. If Man City won only the Premier League in those years, when they won 4 in a row, then I could understand people saying it's not a very special season for Man City. But if at this club, Liverpool, you can compete for it and let alone win it, then it is a strange question to ask, in my opinion. If Virgil has this opinion as well, then I agree with him. Arne Slot said, I think the Premier League is better than it ever was. The strength overall is getting better. I think even Pep Guardiola said there will not be a team again, as long as he lives, that gets 100 points or more in a Premier League season and wins the Premier League 4 times in a row. So many more teams have so many more good players. All clubs, even some who are fighting against relegation, have some players who can play for Man City, for Arsenal, for Chelsea, these type of teams. Matheus Cunha is the best example. Wolves are fighting against relegation still, and Matheus Cunha could play easily for Chelsea or Man United certainly, or even Arsenal or even Liverpool. The reason why teams we might expect to have more points don't have them is because the Premier League has become stronger. That is probably why it is such a compliment for us that we do have those points at the moment. And that's a great argument, because even Fulham, even Bournemouth, small clubs who are not usually playing in Europe, they could qualify for the Champions League or even the Europa League this season. And we are in April already. So that's, I think, a very, very good argument by Arne Slot. And I agree with him that it's the most special season. Any season when Liverpool win the Premier League title is the most special season. And it's the best season in a long, long time. And you could argue that in 2022, when we almost won the league, we almost won the Champions League, but won the FA Cup and the League Cup, that was maybe a better season. But I would actually swap this season with that season. Winning just the Premier League title is better than winning the League Cup and the FA Cup and getting to the final of the Champions League but lose, and getting to the last 15 minutes of the Premier League title race and lose the Premier League title on the last day. This season is better than any of the previous season except 2019-20 when Liverpool won the title. But that was during COVID season, so I would even swap this season with that season. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later, guys. Goodbye.